meeting.
No, let's make the deal now.
Okay, well, the deal is, he's gonna go for the whole 900 acres, put the whole 900 acres underneath the CUP. He's perfectly willing to do that. Cool to you?
What's that?
He says cool to putting 900 acres under the CUP.
Okay, because obviously my concern was you kept asking about the 450.
Yeah,
It
should have just gone through, it
It's-
would have pulled up here.
I'm never doing anything with the other acreage, but it's the same insurance policy, it's the same owner, you know what I'm saying? So I guess the question would be do you have a problem with it? If I go to 9?
Let's start the meeting and.
Yeah, we can wait. Oh, well, 7 o'clock, so there you
7
go.
o'clock.
All right, so here you go.
And so, public hearing. Do you wanna run the public hearing or?
Sure, public hearing.
No.
All right.
Does the applicant want to, explain the project to the,
Sure.
folks around here?
So, what we're up for the board with is, phase 2 of the existing Nature's Wilderness Campground, which is just an addition of 24 RV sites in the existing developed area, using all the existing infrastructure that's already there. The power and water, this is the new septic, but they're all designed for RV standards, and then the existing developed area and the existing pool is going to be relocated to up top to the area right here. And that everything else is staying the same from the existing phases, and no new development outside of that area. Pretty simple for that.
So why are you doing this versus what used to be the case of doing those big projects with a whole bunch of acreage?
Well, I mean, we're going.
If you don't mind, I'd like to answer that question. So, we'd like to walk before we run, okay? I think originally we wanted to add another 60, and I believe somewhere it's been discussed, it can be as high as 171 permits, okay? The original first tranche was 60. Then we wanted to expand the park by another 60, but we decided, you know what? Let's walk before we run, so I'm asking for 24. And by asking for 24, I'm not crossing over any rivers, I'm not cutting any trees down, I'm not putting any roads in. I'm utilizing existing infrastructure. There's very little impact at all. There's no impact to my neighbors at all. And you're more than welcome to go up and take a closer look. It's basically area that's a stone's throw from my main office. And the only thing I'm probably really doing any differently is I'm getting rid of the swimming pool for now. And I'm probably gonna relocate it and build a nicer one at some point across the way. So, now, if I didn't wanna put 60 on there, cause I would hate to spend a ton of money and not be able to rent the entire 60, so.
Those guys, if you wanna pay attention to them, that's
Yeah.
fine, but they're the next item on the agenda. They don't care about you.
Well, well, I look at everyone as a customer. All right. So anyhow, hey, how are you? So I'm just adding 24. I originally was going to add 60, but you know, we'd rather walk before we run and make sure everyone's okay with it. And hopefully, I can sell those lots, you know, or rent them out for the summer. That's it, so no major tree cutting, maybe 1 or 2, no more than 10 trees if I had to guess, if that, right, maybe?
Yeah, the existing area is all open field now, it's
Yeah,
just a small fruit-bearing tree that we saw.
it's really in the middle of where the park.
Some dead
You
trees.
go through it all the time, so, anyhow, that's, yeah.
Any questions of the applicant? Anybody have anything interesting they wanna know, or concerns they have about expanding Nature's Wilderness?
They're gonna have a heck of a time, David, because my dog has picked up all of the fiberglass rods where the new spots are gonna go.
Oh?
So it's It's up in the air again.
Yeah, but she told me you're gonna be there Monday to help me put them back.
Well, I'll.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? So should we close the public hearing? Good, Brad.
Okay, then, on to the next thing on the agenda, calling the meeting to order. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 members of the planning board here, 3 is a quorum, so we're all in legal and so forth. Consideration of the minutes of the previous meeting, we all got them by email, and Dawn, as usual, makes something boiled down and very concise, and I really enjoy it. Did anybody else enjoy it enough to move that we accept them?
Motion that we accept the meetings?
And David seconds that,
Second.
and, those in favor? Great minutes. So, consideration of, nature's wilderness. And at this point, I have some questions.
Sure.
So, before the meeting started, I asked Don Kent for the conditions to the conditional use permit, and we've got these stacks of paper here, and Gary came and looked through them and couldn't find it, and I wondered if you had the conditions on your computer.
My computer, well, they're in the CUP box. But I have them on my computer.
Well, I guess the place, I know you're a lawyer, it's tough. The place I'm going is, I'd like to see them.
With these books here?
I think it's pertinent.
What's it say on it?
The conditional use permits, 1, 2, 3, there's 2 of them here.
Yeah, I used to be my hair, but, yeah. These are like the public use, but yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you wanted them there.
No. They're just copies. I'm sure that people will walk away with them, but.
That would not be good. It's a lot of work then.
So the index says the nature's wilderness is 100.
There you go.
There you go, fine.
All right.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
But yes, I also have them on my computer.
Do you want to listen through them? Because I've got other things I can
Yeah,
keep
okay.
on. I don't want to keep everybody sitting here watching me. And we already talked about producing the trail map.
I sent it to Don, right? So
Okay.
they have it.
Okay.
And that hasn't changed since the last approval.
That was just page 15. It got my hackles up
Yep.
when I read, that everything else was unchanged but provided for convenience, and there were like 7 or 8 items like that, and unchanged but not resubmitted for the trail map was like, uh-oh, that's
Yeah.
just, a gut reaction.
Yep. Yeah, and I just sent it over. Nothing's changed. It just
That's great. Your campground survey map has on it the little boat symbol and the playground area, and since that symbol was put there, the boat set sail and is somewhere else. And it's foolish of us, I think it would be foolish of us to say that the boat has to stay anchored in one place. And somehow we gotta find a way around that so that we don't pin you down to something that's like, why can't you move a boat? It's your boat.
The playground structure, not a living structure,
Yeah,
a home.
why do we care? I don't understand that. I don't understand why there's a level of granularity that I don't think we should be bothered with. That I think we should figure out ways to give the applicant flexibility. And I say this because 10, 15, 20 years from now, we want this conditional use permit to make sense. And you know, by then the boat will have rotted away and it's a castle and, you know, I mean, it's just like, how do we make it work?
What's the concern with the vote?
The concern is that we're being too fussy.
Okay, because I'll get rid of it in 3 seconds.
No,
Okay.
this is
Yeah, because I really don't care about the vote.
this is talking about philosophy.
Okay,
As much as anything, it's talking about how, why are we telling people to do stuff? You know, and maybe we shouldn't be.
I'm okay with that.
I thought you would. Me too.
I'm okay with that.
And I don't wanna tell you to
Yeah.
do something and have it there, that the boat's gotta be here,
Yeah,
and you've moved on, because it makes us look stupid. You know, and 10 years from now, things will have changed.
The
That's
boat's
all I'm
on
talking
permitted
about.
structure, the structures that are permitted, yes, it has to be accurate on the map.
Yeah,
Other than that, it's fluid, playgrounds can move, swing sets can move, sandboxes can move,
exactly.
structures,
Structures, no, yeah.
easy,
The pool, you gotta say where the pool goes.
right, and that's it.
And somehow we should capture this, rather than,
And we didn't show
What
where,
you talked about there, 'cause the boat, the playground was down by the pond.
oh, yeah, no,
I didn't like it by the pond, because the kids are down by the
Yeah,
pond,
yeah.
across the road, so we put it up here.
yeah, we moved it up,
yeah,
back up so more kids would play
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
It went
closer to
to
their
a
parents,
village.
so they don't have to watch them near the water's edge.
Yeah. it
More
went
of
to
a
village
safety,
and
safety issue.
perfectly understandable.
Okay,
Perfectly understandable. I don't want to impose something on you, I just saw it as,
I appreciate that.
I'm looking for details,
Yeah.
as I said to you in the hallway before, you know, I'm
Yeah.
just reading through, looking at details, that's why I was asking for the conditions to the conditional use permit. I wanna look for the details there too.
Sure.
Because that matters, that's what matters, the details, the broad sweep are all, you know, that's fine, but it's the details that catch up as time goes by. Then the other thing, we had a conversation in the hallway where I was saying your website, says you have 900 acres.
We do, that's a true statement.
Yep.
And by the way, I did pick up and I share your concern, and I guess, and I never really gave it much thought. We use that just for marketing reasons, because we target a lot of people from the city. You know, if it was on 20 acres, I wouldn't showcase, come up on our majestic 20 acres. So 1,000 acres catches people's attention. It's larger than most campgrounds, and we purely do that for marketing reasons. But, you know, you do make a solid point. Well, you know, the CUP is like 452 acres, which, you know, led me to ask the question, I know you're concerned on the 452 acres. What's the concern? Because I'm never gonna develop on the other 900 acres, but it's nice to be able to market it. And in speaking with Joe, he said, well, you can ask for the 900 if you want to, but, you know, I will if it's okay, but I don't wanna anger anybody. I'm totally fine with the 452. I mean, I could change my website. It's just, when I market it, it just sounds better. But I do know you have a concern on the 452.
I don't have a concern, I just, if you're going to use other acreage besides the 452 or 456,
Yep.
whichever it is, then that, if you're gonna use it for commercial purpose, you're supposed to get a conditional use permit.
Okay,
So if you're, planning to have a trail system and to allow people to use acreage outside of the 450.
So I can absolutely, sure,
So if you're gonna have people, so right now, what the permit says is at the end of the 450-ish lot, you're supposed to have signs saying, this is the end of the trail, please don't go beyond. And
Sure.
Because, you know, some of it may be yours, some of it may be somebody else's, but you're supposed to keep people for your commercial purpose on the 450-ish. If you're gonna use 900, and this is the issue we had with the former owners, was they've also marketed it at 900 acres. So if you're going to, in fact, allow your guests to use all 900 acres, then that should be part of the, either this permit or a supplemental permit for those other properties that you're using that for recreational purposes, connected to the campground. So then, if the CEO goes out there, the CEO knows where the sign should be. So if your neighbors say, you know, people keep coming on our property, and the question is, well, why didn't you put the signage up? You know, like, there's things that are all kind of interconnected.
sure.
So, if you want, it's not gonna anger anybody, I mean, it is what it is, like, it's whatever you want your use to be.
Okay.
If you want your campground guests to have more than that 456 to use as part of the campground, then include whatever property you intend to use as, in connection with the campground.
Okay, I'd like to keep it at the 456, okay, and I'll be honest with you, I may get rid of the ATV trails. Okay, I'm evaluating whether or not it's actually worth our time and effort, to be honest with you.
And that's up to you, that's a good.
Well, and I'm actually going through the exercise, I've hired a consultant to see if I'm better off targeting people more nature walk type, you know, clientele, because I'm not sold on the ATV. I've never been on one, I'll never be on one. It doesn't really do much for me. So I'm evaluating whether or not, am I better off trying to target people and trail the 900 acres on my property and marketing it that way. So, and I'm trying to figure that out. So for now, I'd like to keep it on the 456. I may come back to you and say, I'd like to go behind, you know, the entire 900, and I want to get rid of the ATVs. I am not expanding that park for ATVs, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest,
Yeah.
you know, once you have something, don't throw it away, just keep it.
Well,
on.
and I appreciate you saying that.
But if you wanna add additional property, that's not a big, I mean, that's easy, that's easier than doing this.
But I don't wanna have to reset the clock, because you know, I am against the clock on trying to get permits and deliver them and put them, you know, in inventory to sell for the summer. Which is why it's not that big of a deal to me, the 24 permits are. But I may come back to you in 6 months and say, hey, gentlemen, I'd like to go for the whole 900, but it's not important to me right now. The only reason why it's on that website, I probably inherited the language on the old website. We do have a new website. That old language is probably there, and we kept it there, and you know, I mean, it is a big deal to be able to market the 900, and I totally get that, okay? So perhaps I could then put, you are welcome to utilize 452 of the 900 acres. I mean,
Whatever you wanna do, I mean,
yeah,
900's been up there for how long,
Yeah.
campground been
yeah,
up in like.
it leaves them a pool problem as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'll appease you with the language I
Just
use.
as long as you understand our concern, that's all.
I do, and it's a good concern to have, and thank you for answering the question.
You also on your website say that the Reichstag is a local, thing to go visit.
What is it?
The Reichstag in
Oh.
Berlin, Germany.
So the web designer was probably part of the template, but,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, well, we'll fly into Germany for drinks, yeah. Yeah, so that's just,
It'd be good to do some detail.
yeah, so I'll explain what's going on. So we have the old website there, okay?
Yeah.
We now own 18 campgrounds we've acquired the last 12
I
months.
saw it, yeah.
So we are trying to, have a consistent corporate brand and message
Yep.
throughout all the websites. So that's mistakenly, you know, on there, but thank you.
I just,
Yeah, I have a phone call regarding that tomorrow, so, it's called syntax errors on the website, so.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I would say one of the things that we caution people about is wanting to come back, wanting to do something and come back. If you can possibly do it now, once.
Yeah, it's good advice,
I
yeah.
mean, I like you and
appreciate
all,
that.
but
Yeah.
I don't wanna see you again.
Yeah, no, I get it, yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate it, I just don't wanna cross a bridge
Yep.
and ask for something that may anger somebody, because I know I've inherited some, some
Yeah.
issues in the past, and I've been trying to clean those up as best I can.
Okay. So those were the things, David, that I caught and wanted to talk about. That's it.
Thank you for sharing it with me.
Don, could you send us the trail map? Or you don't have a phone to do it with right now?
Do we have, what would it be?
You can send you one.
I
I
have it.
just sent you,
You send it to me on the email?
The one I sent you right before the meeting. The ATV trim map I sent you right before the meeting. That's what he said.
It's probably right here. Oh, yeah, here it is, right here.
send it to the other Don and all of us.
It's
That'd
right
be great.
here. We wanna forward it. You wanna put the name somewhere? We can do it afterwards. I have it right here. We just have to.
Yeah.
Put on all the links for it.
Okay, I mean, I just think
Yeah, but it's right here.
okay.
We have it.
I guess my concern, is just expediting things, but having due diligence, having all the information.
So let's talk a little bit about process. So what do we see the process of being? I don't see this as being a major hurdle. I see it actually being more difficult just in terms of process, figuring out how to do this correctly.
Okay?
So we have a finding of fact, and we have a conditional use permit already existing. And I think we talked earlier about we were gonna do an attachment or an appendage rather than rewrite the existing CUP, like a phase 2 addendum for the CUP. That'll make it easier, because we can just incorporate everything from the prior CUP. But we have to identify the stuff that we're gonna strike in the CUP too, because there is things that are no longer applicable. We have this appendix, whatever it is. So if we're incorporating the primary CUP, what additional language do we need for these, how many is it,
24.
24 campgrounds? And it doesn't seem like we need that much.
No,
And we can incorporate these positions of the applicant to kind of tie it down and say, this is what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Whatever, saying it has to be consistent with the stuff that was submitted, this is the opening, whatever it is, February,
It
whatever.
was dated February 28th. Yeah. I never submitted it after that.
Dated 2/28 plus the map. It doesn't seem like there really needs to be much more than that.
There was some discussion last time about maintenance of the road, also, so.
Correct.
Question about,
Yeah.
property.
So I've hired a local firm, in fact, I believe I gave.
Over here.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have it for you Tuesday. So I hired Bernstein Scher, which is a law firm out of Portland, and they will be drafting, an agreement for the town selectmen. Fairly straightforward.
It looks like it's kind of, that would go,
We'll send it to our town lawyer.
Yeah, the property thing is not really in our purview. I mean, it's nice to get it done, it's nice to have it.
And I'd like to have it done.
Yeah.
And just one more issue we don't have to worry about.
And you had the issue with, Jerry Drew and Bernie Manette on land. Where does that stand?
Yeah, I spoke with, she's here, right? Yeah, so I spoke to your attorney today, Mr. Jones,
Yes,
and I believe he's in an okay place with where we're at in the process.
yes, and he
Yeah.
has, forwarded emails to me, that kind of thing, so
Yeah.
I think that we're pretty close.
Yeah, we are, so
We're working together.
I'll give him an update exactly where we're at. So, Mr. Monette's attorney was kind enough to draw up a quitclaim deed, which he forwarded to me. I then forwarded to the bank's attorney, can't think of her name, Regina, it doesn't matter. She represents Bank of New Hampshire, okay? She forwarded this, and we communicated with, Mrs. Monette's attorney the entire time. She forwarded the quitclaim deed to the bank's attorney, who's based out of Maine. His name is Sam Miller. He did the original title work. He just wants to make sure that the quitclaim deed ties out basically to the survey. And I know there's been a partial release form written up and agreed to by the Bank of New Hampshire. We don't see any issues. Spoke to her attorney today, Jeff Jones, who spoke to my attorney, the bank's counsel. It's more or less just a process. And I basically have an email that states that I will execute, the LLC will execute, you know, once that paperwork is done, but, so, you good? Yeah, so, yeah, there's no issues, and I wanna put that to rest. It's insignificant, the 5 acres or 6 acres or whatever it is. We're nowhere near it, doesn't impact the campground, it's on the other side of the body of water.
So right now, it's sitting with the bank, they have to.
Yeah, it's literally, it's sitting on an attorney's desk who just has to make sure that, you know, we're good. It's a formality at this point.
I'll just ask the questions I'm looking at. So do all the new sites have at least 5,000 square feet?
Of usable area.
Shall meet the following criteria. Each recreational vehicle tent shelter site shall be minimum of 5,000 square feet, not including roads and driveways.
Yeah, they would all have their,
I'm just looking at it.
yeah.
So we have to figure out what to strike and then what that language would look like in the new, phase 2 appendix, or addendum.
Addendum, right?
You haven't given us a proposed, CUP, the old CUP with anything stricken or anything, right?
Nothing new since last time, yeah, just.
Well, that's the CUP request, not the finding of facts, and so, I'm just trying to think who it makes sense to go through that. If we go through it and strike it, it makes sense for you to propose it. You know, what's applicable, what's not. Well, we're gonna go through it, I mean, do we like, do it, do we give him the first shot?
Well, we could, but I mean, we eventually get into it.
It would make sense to go through it here.
Yeah, all right.
Do we wanna do that today?
I'm okay with that.
Make copies of that and go through it?
This,
Yeah. What we need to strike,
you mean this?
no,
No.
the CUP.
The CUP,
How many pages?
lots of pages.
Oh, that's a lot of work. That'd take a lot of time.
I don't think it'll take much.
There's not much changing, really.
Let me hand this over to you. Derek would like,
You run a service.
Derek is under some pressure, which, understand, it doesn't pressure me, it's his pressure. But he would like to get started this spring, in April, and I said, because you weren't there, and therefore I could say whatever I wanted to, that, we would try to get this done, between tonight and our next meeting.
Yeah, no, I don't see a vote next meeting as being any problem at all, it's just a question whether we can do it tonight.
Great,
So why don't we get copies here,
okay.
and then,
Bob is volunteering to make the copies. Bob
can
knows
you make
how.
some copies? Just, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We'll see you next week.
Can you handwrite those? Alright, so why don't we put that on the burner for a second, handle some, we're coming back to you.
I agree,
So why don't
thank
we
you.
come back, why don't we do
Appreciate
it
it.
somebody else and come back?
Sure.
That sounds good.
Who do we go to next?
Oh, you mean on the agenda?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then Tyler, you're up. So just, until Bob can figure out how to work the copy machine, you can talk to us and.
Yeah, we're here to turn in the application.
Great.
So last time, yeah, you ain't kidding. Last time, we were at the meeting, last board meeting we attended, you guys told us because there was no application. So we went through and just typed through all the subheadings of the minor subdivision to the town. I came in to ask Don a question the following Friday, and I saw you typed up an actual formal application.
I was already in there, but yeah,
Okay.
you got it, let's just say you got it.
So we filled that out also.
Yeah.
So we got both copies of it. We'll go through that. You guys want to read through it as we go? That's the actual formal one, and that was the minor subdivision on the town we just ran.
Okay. Do you have any copies or is this it?
No, I got extra copies.
Because these other guys have.
Oh, with them filled out? I have one extra copy.
You just want us to see whether.
Let's see
whether
if
it's good
We have,
copies.
we have one copy to read along
okay.
with you, but.
Okay.
We have, obviously, on there, shows 3 plans, full size, so I have the grandfathers, I got 3 copies of the original, and then the new surveying, 3 copies of that.
Is this your grandfather's address, 500?
Nope, that's, my father's, where we're at now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And therefore the pressure to.
Yeah, gotta get cooking. And on there, it says 1 8x11 also, of each, so we have those.
Great.
We have the deed,
Copy of it,
copy of it.
just waiting for that in the mail.
Keep going, keep
Okay.
going.
And we also spoke with Joe and Don, it must have been a month ago, 2 months ago, about the water test, about having a hydrogeologist come out. I said, since it's, we're following the minor subdivision steps, I asked if it would be okay if we did a lab test of my father's well, which is not a part of the subdivision, but it's smack dab in the middle. So they said that couldn't be an issue, so we had it lab tested, I have the results in here. I have soil tests from when originally he was going to do a bungalow, but it didn't work out. So we have soil tests also smack dab, right in the middle, and where's that, the one that Grant gave me? No.
So I'd also say Tyler is asking for some waivers, and this is part of what he's talking about now. Please waive the $10,000 fee, and please discuss the $300 per lot, as we are only building on one lot. Please waive the high-intensity soil survey. A certified soil scientist, as we were informed initially by the board, this did not need to be performed. And please waive the erosion and sedimentation control plan, as the subdivision is not in the watershed of the Great Pond. I'm inclined to be in a waiving mood because there is only one house being built.
I mean, obviously, if you're gonna put in a writing, if somebody's gonna build on another lot down the road, then they fronting everybody's up.
if there's another house going in, this subdivision has to be reviewed.
Yeah, no, that,
And
we're
board.
not,
Yeah,
we're not even
there's no other
discussing
houses
that.
going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
that
thank
is,
you.
that's a reason why I am, in favor of waiving.
The question on the soil erosion is, you doing any work on the road?
We're going to be continuing Hummingbird, but obviously, you know, it's gonna be held up to Baldwin standards and all.
How much of the road are you gonna be working on? I'm talking about, I'm looking at the soil erosion. It's extensive, we're gonna ask for a soil erosion plan.
That's fine, we're gonna have PYSCs, when it's time, if it's approved, obviously, come up, and they're gonna be making sure there's no erosion, 'cause we had that problem in the last house also, anyway. So they will be ditching, culverting, whatever they need to do.
I don't think, I'm not leaning towards giving a waiver on soil erosion application.
Okay.
I wanna see, you know, if you're doing road work, if it was just a single house, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But since we're doing some more road work, I'd like to see soil erosion.
I mean,
Okay.
it is a single,
Let's
Yeah.
keep going, show us what you got.
That's what you got.
Show us what you have, and maybe we'll understand
well,
more.
here's the two copies, but, I mean, I wanna just touch on that. Hummingbird, this is all existing already.
All right,
That hammerhead is still there from the original.
okay.
We're adding this,
That little piece down there.
yes, and that's a lot, and, I mean, that's just adding road frontage.
How does the land fall away from that?
This is a rock wall right here.
What's
Sorry,
happening
sorry,
down?
what's the topography?
Topography.
What's high, what's
Is
low?
there,
I have an app.
it's gonna affect any
So-
of your neighbors, some runoff?
There's
Yes,
no
we-
detail
This is
and all
a
that.
field, all field, there's nothing.
Maybe we want to have
Yep.
the site visit before making the determination.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Keep going, what else you got?
This is, I got all the papers, so this is soil, this is water,
Right.
and this is the elevation.
And this is a matter
Barely
of,
can read
if we
that.
can accept the papers, we do not have to declare the application complete. We can schedule a,
Yep.
a site visit
Yep.
and see if it looks okay.
Absolutely.
You know.
I see what you're saying about how this goes away, but that's.
All right.
I think like you said, Joe, site visit.
And I don't know if you need this, this is a copy of the.
Yeah. Okay, so they're giving us a package. It has the application, the diagram, the soil stuff, the diagram, so those for us, or those?
Yep, these are the 3 copies of each. This is the 8x11 copy of each. Right. And it's a copy of the deed. Obviously, the elevation,
Right.
soil.
What's this one?
So this is from, my grandfather actually had done. So this is all his.
Where are you gonna
What was
be
that,
here?
it said 21, remember you gave me that?
March of 2021.
Yeah.
So where are you gonna?
Where are
be?
you? Where are you on this?
So I would be roughly right here.
All right.
All right, so they've given us all this stuff.
That's the water test.
Is it enough to accept the application and then to schedule a site walk and public hearing?
Well, I'd like to at least look at the survey before I say yes or no.
Okay.
The roll, one of those rolls.
It's going to be with Matt B.
So we listed
That's
them.
Matt B on the post-it. That's the newest surveying of our lot.
That's why I was enrolling Map A.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Thank you guys for letting us use the gym for the season. We're done. I have keys.
I'll take it.
Over there.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so they got meets and bounds on the lot.
Yep.
I'm right on.
Yeah. So I think we could look at a sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay?
And this is all your grandfather's, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So. It would be
So we run into timing issues now, so you have to have a certain amount of time to notice the sidewalk before the sidewalk can happen. So just calculating the time right now.
It's roughly.
Saturday, April 8th
Perfect.
is just the date you wanted.
Yep, I'll be there.
Yeah.
That was a lucky day.
Yep.
So 9 o'clock,
I'll be in a rootless, so.
will you?
Yep.
You wanna be at your sidewalk.
I will be there.
Maybe make it for next week.
So,
No, next week he's gone.
Yeah, no,
Like
that's
that.
perfect.
Oh,
I'm
so
leaving
Oh, you're
April
gonna be
8th.
there on the eighth, you're there?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
you're on, okay, 9 o'clock.
Sounds good.
So for the sidewalk, can you place some markers, to delineate where you're extending the road to?
Yep.
And then roughly where you're gonna put the house?
Yep.
Like just or the parcel that you're adding?
Yep.
Either one. The
Yeah,
parcel
I'll
probably.
pin, obviously where our lot is, and then I'll show roughly where our house is gonna sit and angle also.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can I ask the next steps after the sidewalk?
Then we have a public hearing,
Okay.
just as we were doing here today.
Okay.
And, after the public hearing, with simple,
Hasn't banked on anything yet, so.
Just wanna throw a kid in there.
I am,
Hopefully the best, expect the worst.
optimistic.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going down, what are you talking about? 2 weeks in a row, they've gone down. We're only at 6.45.
I just told them, you're not going down.
Any questions?
Yeah, if you're done with them, I don't want to muddy the waters, I just need clarification. So, when we first came in here, and I showed you our map, and I showed you lot 1, 2, and 3, which have been built on, my daughter, my son. My other daughter, lot 4, has sat there for almost 20 years, nothing has happened with that. And then with Tyler coming along and saying, ooh, wait a minute, as Don says, now we're dealing with subdivision, blah, 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 blah. So, my hope was after this was addressed, in terms of clarification, but I think what I heard you say is if, like next year, if my daughter decided to build on lot 4, she would have to go through the same process? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Or once Tyler is squared away, then it's all.
It should be approved, right? Because it's
I just need a clarification.
It would be fine, yeah.
And look, yeah,
Assuming
I don't wanna affect him or whatever, I'm just saying, okay, so once that's done with him, my daughter in Connecticut luckily didn't want to build up on the land, and I said, whoa, wait a minute, Dad, you gave land to the other two and they built, but I can't build because it's under a different.
But, so she would be building on land that's already been deeded to her,
That's right.
then there's no problem, no.
Okay. Okay. And I understand the fact that we don't know about the other grandson, and realistically, down below Tyler, perhaps another 3 acres at some point in time. I don't
You
know whether
divide out-
I don't know whether I'll be around when that happens, but that's why we didn't want to put on a map and bring it. If in fact she approached me and wanted to do something, then I'm gonna do the same.
Then you're gonna have to go through this.
You would have to go through the same thing that Tyler.
Yeah.
And extend Hummingbird Lane down even further.
Unless Jen sells him her property.
I think she sent me a note a long time ago and said, Dad, I don't think I'm ready to come back to Maine. So they have a lot set. But Tyler, but Connor, her son, he ice fishes up here, he loves, I said, if you don't build on it, Connor will. Yeah, it'll be nice. Well, good, thank you for that.
Sure.
Need to find out.
You all set, Tyler?
Yes, I lost one of these.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hasn't been too painful, has it?
No. I appreciate all the help going through it and any questions we had, so we are thankful.
And I wanna pick on the town selectmen for a minute while I have the
Oh, please
opportunity.
do.
So when you folks come down to do your review, and I know you're concerned about the road, when you say it has to be brought up to town standards, please be careful coming down the Neal Road, the potholes, because the front end of your vehicle will be thrown out. But as long as, if we need to put holes down on his road to equal that, we'll do it, you know.
Gary, each one of those holes is money in my pocket, so.
Yeah, there you go. Good, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You too.
One to go on. Anybody else want a copy of the conditions?
All right.
Conditional use permit.
So my thought process in this is not to correct the permit. We can do that in the addendum to the extent that things have changed. I think we should only cross out things that are no longer applicable in the sense of that the applicant no longer has to follow them. So like, the applicant's name, I don't think we should correct that. Like, in the addendum, we'll have the new applicant's name as the person. So like, going through the first page, name, mailing address, phone number, owner, right, property, owner, location, tax map, zoning. I don't think any of that needs to be stricken. It can be updated, but none of it should be stricken.
You wouldn't change 70, the owner of record?
We're gonna put it under in the addendum.
Okay,
So it's,
but you're actually not gonna change this document?
no,
Okay.
unless we strike it because there's something that's not a requirement on the applicant that, like, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
like an affirmative, there's only like 3 or 4, that's why, because it should be pretty quick.
Like, for example, on 3 here, it mentions archery, we got rid of archery, and we strike that.
Well, see, this is
Or
still
the-
finding of facts, so,
Okay.
I mean, frankly, let's skip to where the conditions start.
Okay.
So, the applicant went through during the meeting, next meeting, applicant indicated phasing, proposed project, required state permits. So I'm on line 268. Maybe we have to start a little bit before I was just trying to read through it. Looks like 260 is probably where it looks like it starts. I mean, if you all disagree, just tell me.
I think that, just try after that, 'cause that's part of the, goes with part of the utilities and the permits, which kind of, I think it would be, I think I saw the conditions.
That's great. Standard intersection.
418 and forward, conditional use may be granted by the planning board.
Well, it's 292, age of
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah, let's
The
start
rules.
with 292.
Okay.
Alright, so campground will be open from May 1st to October 31st. Controlled gate, so hours of entry, is there anything in here that's no longer accurate?
I don't believe so.
24-hour gate,
And we had that on,
controlled access, registration office, given instructions, gate access, no new visitors after 8 p.m. Are those all,
it's all the same.
okay.
Yep.
Applicant, sample rate sheet,
So the only time it changes is in, the first change that I know of is in O, which we're getting rid of archery. which is on line,
Did a dry hydrant get installed?
no, the fire department didn't deem that one.
They use skimmers now.
Yep.
Okay, so V,
I tried to get a hydrant myself.
let's see, that is F, D, A, B, C, D, E, E, V, dry hydrant will be installed, that's no longer, it's no longer
Yep.
required.
Do you have glamping sites still? Whatever glamping sites are?
The cabins?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, because it says all RV glamping and cabin sites, is that redundant then to say glamping and cabin sites?
Yes, the glamping references the cabins that are already installed down through here.
So cabins and glampings equal the same thing?
Yeah, they call glamping cabins, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Because
because
they're those glamorous, it's glamping, glamour camping.
Yeah, that's how we market them as well. We market them as glamping cabins.
okay.
Alright.
I am going to strike in line 319, I'm going to strike cabins.
Yes.
No mosquitoes, no flies.
So the glamping cabin site.
Correct.
Strike the answer.
Thank you, Rhiannon.
Your fire truck.
Yep.
By functional, I've sat in a number of meetings where the discussion of what functional fire truck is. It has been, people going round and round about it. Is your fire truck functional?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Does having the mention of the fire truck in here mean that when that fire truck in 50 years dies, they have to buy a new fire truck?
Depending on what the reference is. Where's the reference?
The campground owns a functioning fire truck that will be available to respond to any fire-related emergency.
Line you on?
320.
320, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something they're asserting that they're going to have on a going forward basis.
But we also made the agreement that we wouldn't impede the fire department. They're the first responders. It's just if we had a small something that I could take care of. We have hoses at every site. The likelihood of ever actually needing a fire truck is minimal.
I get that, but I'm worried that you're going to be held to this later on when the fire truck engine doesn't work anymore.
It's a good concern.
Yeah.
Or when the town can't respond quick enough.
Yeah, we're gonna say, well, they got a fire truck. Oh, no, they don't.
So do we strike it and call it a declaration and then use it if we need some?
I would prefer that.
That's what I,
Because we're not firefighters.
Exactly. I don't, your insurance agent looking through this might get upset. And insurance people run the business.
So you start down with
320 and 321, I would strike. And have you installed a dry hydrant?
No.
We already went through that.
Right, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So
So
strike
we're
322 as well.
line 322. And 323 and 324 up to the beginning of the next sentence. And anything to do with primitive recreation is being stricken?
Correct.
What?
Anything to do with primitive recreation is being stricken. They are not gonna have any primitive recreation.
Where do you see that?
Well, that's the piping.
I'm sorry,
There's no permanent campsites.
Campsites, yeah.
But,
My
the recreation,
mistake.
they're still hiking and.
Yeah, my mistake, my mistake, sorry.
No permanent camping.
Right.
I don't see anything else. The language for the swimming pool would cover the new ones, but it'd all be to the state standards, so.
Based on reference to the ATVs again, it says within land owned by the applicant. Is that the full 900 acres again?
Well, I mean, right now, it's within the 456, so I'd like to keep it there for now. Like I said, I'm probably gonna get rid of them, but.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it says within the land, that means, sounds to me like it's all 900.
It's within the land we referenced in the beginning, I believe that would cover it.
Which is the 456 acres.
Correct, yeah.
Within 456 acres only.
Sure.
Spike land, 456.
Well, we can't make changes like that, because we're not opening up this permit, so.
If it's easier to keep it at the 900, you keep it at 900, but as the owner of the property, it's staying within the 456.
We're not gonna make changes to this, we're
Fine.
just striking
Oh,
language.
we're just striking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it looks like there's,
Then leave it alone then.
for some reason, there's 7 pages that aren't in here, so, there's access to property, there's access limitations, it's not in this packet. Dust, glare, industrial odors, off-street parking, requirement of street parking, sewage. And there's the performance standards.
That's your standard conditions,
Standard conditions, yeah. Gary's signature is actually on line 763, there's a few more pages to that. What's yours, cost you, 452?
51.
451, yeah. Alright. So, I propose doing the following, I think we should all look at this. I'll send out the full permit to everybody as well. I think we should look at it and I'll go through it and strike out the stuff that we talked about, and then I'll draft an addendum. And the addendum will basically correct some of so it's a different owner, different address, and basically the addendum will say that the application as amended applies to the new 24 lot, that, we find that this is a reasonable expansion based on the infrastructure and all that crap, and then basically just approve it with the language under the first conditional use permit as modified.
Great.
And then I'll bring that to the next meeting, we can vote on it next meeting.
Great.
Does that
Sounds
make
good.
sense?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, great, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any huge issues. But I can't do it quickly, like
I got you.
I thought we could do it quickly, and I'm like losing it,
I understand completely.
so.
Yeah.
What's the next meeting, April?
Second, would be April 13th,
That sounds right.
public hearing for Thailand Field,
Alright,
also that night.
so if I can, I'll try to draft it up and send it to you.
Okay,
So you
great.
can, you'll have a chance, like, don't send it back to us.
Bring
and
some to
change
the
it.
meeting.
Understood.
Right,
Thank
right,
you.
I
come to the
understand.
meeting, like,
Yeah,
if you have concerns or
Sure.
changes,
Yeah.
then
I'm sure we're not going to have any concerns.
never know.
Well, no, I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
If there's any questions in between now and the next meeting that you need to follow up with us, feel free to contact me or Derek, and we'll come in and just.
Yeah. I think the position, we do stuff at the meeting, just so everybody
It's
hears.
a good position, agreed.
Makes it easier. I mean, it makes things happen slower, but it makes it so we all hear the same stuff. Plus, it just means extra work. Right. So, anybody have any questions of the applicant before we let him go? Bob, you have anything? Do you want us to make somehow integrate the agreement on the road with the conditional use permit? Or-
We don't need to, that's.
Yeah, like separate, yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. We're gaining on it, we're making momentum. I think we are, so it's good. Thank you.
So the only other thing we've got is I wanted to point out that our next meeting is the election of officers, so there'll be a campaign rally out front ahead of the meeting.
I'll have it for you.
You email it to me first.
Oh,
Just,
got
Pass
it.
it around to everybody.
Okay, perfect.
just to
All right.
say, make sure we do that. Elect officers.
Yes, yeah.
The only thing else I had was I need to get a CVC signed
Okay,
for, Doyle.
okay.
Signatures on it.
You can get signatures on that,
There's two of them, sign both.
okay?
I think we should keep the same, officers. John, do you want to keep doing your job? I think you're doing a fine job. Yeah, I thought we could do it right then, but I'm too tired, like I can't. I can't work in a higher brain function at this hour.
I will return it.
And you can put the original in the book here if you want. It's up to you. Sure, sure.
They need to send out letters for those, West Baldwin solar farm. Yes, I need to do that.
I mean, does anybody else need to sign it? You can sign it, I don't know.
I can sign it.
Oh, okay.
Because what I intend to do is just
Because I've got them right
have
here.
a copy. I'm sorry if I don't ride the horse the same day I saddle it.
If you want a copy of that, then it's right there, you can send it however you want.
What?
A trail map or whatever,
Well,
feel free to welcome.
Don can send it himself. You want you to put your email address in over there?
It's right there, just send it wherever you need it.
We got another one?
There's two, I'm gonna keep two. We keep one and give them one.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same place.
I guess I'm.
So what, so I don't use Windows. I'm an Apple.
Which is it we're looking for?
Should I do a cover letter?
You leaving us, Bob?
Trail map.
Seeing if they're having a property dispute in the hall there.
Okay, so that we're forwarding that.
Right. Forward, I don't have a
Oh,
list
because
of
you
the
want to
people
sign it.
forwarded to.
Oh, okay.
So you can do one if you,
Okay.
you can give it to Don. Say, have, you know, you'll call him
Then we can do it easily. I probably should have all of them in there.
Or you can mail it to them and have it mailed out. I would do it.
Yeah. You can bring that up if you want it higher.
No, that's all right, we just, let's see.
This is the,
Hey, Bob,
Steve,
when's the
you
town
just
meeting?
signed it.
Oh,
June tenth, okay?
Do you need me to
I'm gonna
moderate?
give it to you
Okay.
to give them,
Okay,
okay?
that's fine.
You sign
Set it back over a month
They can
this year because
or, yeah, after they sign it.
Debbie was, forgot to send out the notice that, nomination
Get
papers
it,
were
give
due.
us an original back.
Sounds good to me. I will, that's what they're
And
gonna.
what it is, there's two sheets to this.
That gives me more time to work on the
And
budget.
then there's our standard conditions. We always have.
I'd rather do it later in the year.
I paid my taxes, so you have a
Very
bunch
good.
of money.
She only has to sign the one.
She signs the one.
I wasn't gonna do the
Sign
first
the
half,
vote.
but
Sign the vote.
just trying to give up and said, okay, I'll pay it.
Okay.
You can keep one if you'd like.
Is that the 6-month one or the other one?
That sounds good.
Well, I don't have any taxes owed.
Sounds good to me, I'll get that
Whatever's owed, I
taken care
pay.
of.
Oh, did you have a dispute with the,
No,
I need to
no,
do-
this is from my.
I guess you need to put on whoever you want that sent to.
Where am I putting that?
But,
we've got a lot of people
right
talking
here.
about.
So we just wanna.
Jesus Christ, you're charging us twice as much.
I know, it's terrible.
You charged me one bill, now you got another one. And we tried to explain, well, you're not gonna get another bill for a while.
The taxes went down.
The mill rate went down.
The mill rate, yeah, that's right, the mill rate went down.
But I haven't analyzed anybody's tax bill. That's a,
Mine went down.
oh, good.
Yeah, my taxes were down.
We just got the, school budget. I know these are unofficial numbers, but
Yep, you just put.
somebody asked me about how well they did.
You can bring this
The,
up to some of you. I don't have the, everybody's contact.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, that's right, that's right.
No,
It's just a creator of the contacts over there.
but,
I've got to get that.
yeah, 1.4% increase in the school budget, which, you know, I was expecting to see like at least 7 or 8, you know,
1.4?
or 1.6 for
Okay.
the,
Wait, save it or what?
Bolden.
Then you said one, what amazed me.
I know, it's incredible.
Just leave it there.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
they,
it's right
they,
there, okay.
they,
Continue sending yourself.
I just.
do they have like 800 students now or something?
Okay.
The student is actually going up.
They go up.
Yeah, I asked Carl about it
I see it on the bottom.
several times, and he didn't quite clarify, but I
I'll
think it's
just leave
because,
it there in case we need it.
you know, they've gone to, kindergarten class for everybody who wants it, so they've added some kindergarten. And he said that the high school classes are trending upward a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they've got 50 more students this year than last year, something like that.
Yeah.
It'll trend down in a year or two because they've got a small net. I'm not sure who
My
it
house is in Richmond, so I think.
Oh, we've got a bunch of subdivisions to fill it out.
Whose is this?
David, is it okay if we put these right on top of the
Wherever you
file?
wanna put them, yeah, if you wanna put them in the drawer, you can put them in the drawer, it's up to
Well, I mean,
you.
if you need them, I just wanna make sure you know they're.
I can find them, don't worry.
That's yours, you can take
I'll
care
put
of
them
it.
right here then. I was just trying to be careful with.
When we're done
you
with
walk
it,
away.
Ah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just have to pay my son to do it again.
Well, you did a good job on them, I don't wanna lose track of them.
Well, the interesting fact that he had in his little brief was that in the last 10 years,
It should be done because of precedent.
Malden's,
It should be done. Okay.
mill rate increase went up
Yeah,
$1.18. By far the highest in the, school district.
Yeah.
Most of them were down, you know, 20, 30. I think Hiram was down, like, maybe 60. But we've been paying, you know, a good increase all the time. And you ask yourself why, and it's not due to the number of students, it really has to do with the valuation of the town.
Right.
And I'm convinced it's because we have industry here that they don't have.
I don't know.
All right.
Are you gonna update those, or when we get these, we wanna have them?
Either I'll do it, or you can do it, I'll do it.
That's fine, I
yeah.
just didn't know.
Yeah, I'll do it, yeah.
Good idea to keep them up there.
And I'll scan them in, I'll put them on the, USB drive, and we'll have them electronically too.
Wow, can't be better than that.
So what, Tom, give Dave the original back.
Okay, I'm gonna get her to sign them.
Yeah, just tell me when they come in, I'll drop by and pick them up.
Right.
And
Okay.
David should get the original.
Yeah, 'cause Debbie lets me in, so if you just leave them
Right.
someplace obvious, I can grab them and
Okay,
it's easy peasy.
very good, we'll take right care of it. Perfect.
So the system we seem to be getting is that, we approve a conditional use permit. Don gets a couple of weeks, and at the next meeting, we sign it, and he takes care of it. So we don't have to rush around, which we've done sometimes, but he gets a chance to type everything up and.
Sure.
For the next meeting.
Yeah.
Let's do it for the next meeting. And what we'll do is I'll send it out early, everybody can review it. And if we have any comments, or if you don't wanna
Oh,
send it.
that's a good idea.
we can work on it, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Move to adjourn.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Good.
Good.